The Secrets of Let's Science is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit GiveStarQuest.com.
3, 2, 1.
We live in a universe of scientific wonders.
Every day, scientists are inching towards breakthroughs which can change our lives.
We're playing our small part in sharing these wonders with you.
That's why today is a fine day for science.
So let's science.
So Caroline, I'm half looking forward to. I'm looking forward to half this conversation. So first word, yeah, I know. No, I know exactly. So the first word is Neanderthal. I'm cool with that half. The second half is dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to hold my mouth while you talk. Caroline, over to you.
All right. So yes, I am going to be talking about Neanderthals and how they practice dentistry. And I don't think a lot of us knew that they actually did. So let's get into this. So who are the Neanderthals? So their scientific name, Homo neanderthalensis, and they are a hominid species. They are our relatives, and it's like our human cousins. As controversial as that can be, that's the fact. And they were a species of hominid who emerged roughly about 430,000 years ago. They lived in many parts of the world, so from the Atlantic coast of Wales and Iberia across the Mediterranean and Central Europe, all the way to the Levant, which is Israel, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, in that region, and the icy landscapes of southwestern Siberia. And they were able to thrive in all of these environments until they disappeared from the fossil record about 40,000 years ago. So really, that's quite recent as far as time goes. So we do know a lot about our Neanderthal cousins, where they lived, what they ate, what they look like. We know about their social life. We know that they made fire. We know that they were highly intelligent, so they were quite, they have a bit of a bad rap as being, you call someone a Neanderthal like they're stupid.
That's what they say.
Actually,
it can't be both of it is so Caroline. It's more, I am an Neanderthal. Well, that's my cousin.
Yeah. Well, genetically, we all have most of us have a little bit of Neanderthal DNA.
Hang on, what did you say about
another
my cousin?
topic for another day.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So, yes, they were very intelligent human species. And the one thing maybe that most of us didn't know about, and I did not know about this either, that they did perform dentistry. So, in May this year, a paper was published in the journal PLOS One by Alyssa Zubovia and her team of colleagues, and they unveiled a discovery that challenges our understanding of the Neanderthal capabilities. So there's a cave called the Chagrinskaya Cave within the Altai Mountains in southwestern Siberia at the very eastern edge of the Neanderthal range. Researchers actually identified 59,000-year-old Neanderthal molar. And this was not just any other fossilized tooth, because they found Neanderthal teeth before. This is a pretty special one. Etched into its crown was a deep, artificially engineered cavity. So it represents the oldest definitive evidence of an invasive dental treatment in the human fossil record, which predates similar procedures by Homo sapiens by more than 40,000 years. So in this cave, there have been revealed thousands of stone tools and animal bones alongside the genetic remnants of the Neanderthal population. Now, the tooth that they found was a lower left second molar. It belonged to an adult. Now, to the untrained eye, the tooth just looked battered and worn down, which is typical for a prehistoric hominid whose diet was filled with gritty, unprocessed foods. But when Dr. Zubovia and her team examined the chewing surface of the tooth, they noticed something a little irregular. So right at the center of the tooth was an oddly shaped hollow. They measured it. It was 4.2 millimeters in length and 2.8 millimeters in width. It went down to a depth of 2.6 millimeters, and it wasn't a standard pit caused by normal wear and tear, but it was a massive crater that completely exposed and hollowed out the chamber of the tooth. And this is where the nerves, blood vessels, and connective tissues are. Yes, it's sounding painful because it probably was. Now,
my teeth are hurting right now.
Yes, so all those people just hang in there with me. I know it's horrible. I hate the dentist too, but it's really interesting. Okay, I do avoid the dentist, I have to say. Now, to understand what this poor individual went through, we have to look at the biology of the tooth. So, the outer layer of the tooth is the enamel. Beneath it lies the dentine, which is a softer calcified tissue. At the core is the pulp. Now, in a healthy mouth, the enamel and dentine act as a shield, but when the shield is breached by cavities, the bacteria can enter into the dentine and head towards the pulp, and as many of us know, this can be extremely painful. I do know this firsthand. Okay, so the authors of this study used microcomputed tomography or micro CT scanning to have a look inside this tooth. They found clear areas of demineralization and heterogeneous structures within the dentine. So this was proof of a deep raging tooth infection. Poor person had a huge infection in their tooth. It would have been really small. So as we know, a deep cavity like this can cause excruciating, throbbing pain. And because the tooth is like a closed box, when an infection takes root inside the pulp, inflammation can cause pressure to build up rapidly and there's nowhere to escape. Now, this wouldn't have just been an inconvenience. It would have been a debilitating condition that could prevent eating, disrupt sleep, and compromise survival, especially at this time. So the patient was in desperate need of relief. Okay, so when researchers inspected the sides of the molar, which is the interproximal surfaces where pressed against the neighboring teeth, they found clear evidence of a heavy mechanical wear, specifically near the neck of the tooth where there was a deeply grooved, highly polished channel. Now, this is characteristic of what anthropologists classify as a stage 4 toothpick use wear. It is well-developed, visible groove measuring between 1.5 and 2.8 millimeters in width. Now, on the opposite side of the same tooth, they found a lighter, localized polish patch covered in parallel scratches, which this represents a stage 2 toothpick wear, the early phase of groove taking shape. Now, what this tells us is that the individual was consistently and aggressively jamming an object between their teeth.
Oh, my goodness me!
While the Neanderthals across Europe have been frequently documented using toothpicks to dislodge trapped food, as we all know, sometimes we need to do that. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I've got popcorn in my teeth for today from the movie. Now, the presence of these grooves on a single heavy decayed tooth suggests something more urgent. So the individual was likely using toothpicks made of bone, wood, or stiff stalks, not just for hygiene, but as a primitive mechanism to alleviate the radiating pain of the infection or to clear out food debris that settled into the cavity.
Oh.
And probably caused a lot of pain at the same time. So toothpicking, it was a superficial fix and wasn't going to really help the tooth infection heal at all. So the real mystery lay inside the massive crater on the chewing surface. It didn't look like a typical cavity left behind by natural decay in Homo sapiens either, but the interior walls of the hollow were covered in distinct geometric scratches. So, to determine whether these marks were caused after the individual died from damage caused by the weight of soil over millennia, or if they were a result of intentional actions, the team used a high-resolution microscopic analysis. They found that the interior walls of the cavity featured horizontally oriented lines running parallel to the edges of the concavity. The margins of the crater weren't jagged, they were smoothed down, which exhibited characteristics of a gloss or polish. Now, in the world of microwear analysis, this kind of polish and scratch pattern usually only occurs when the surface is subjected to repeated mechanical friction during life. So the conclusion was that someone had taken a sharp, hard tool and intentionally operated on the tooth. And they didn't just scrape the surface, they manually drilled into the living dentine of the tooth to hollow out the infection.
Wow!
Okay.
Worst day of that Neanderthal's life.
Poor.
For that. Yes.
Poor Neanderthal.
So there was an experiment done to prove the conclusion. Okay, so the researchers selected 3 modern human teeth for the experiment. One healthy wisdom tooth recently extracted from one of the study's co-authors, Dr. Lydia Zotkina, and 2 historical teeth from an archaeological collection. Using the doctor's fresh extracted tooth was a brilliant methodology. Great choice. I'm too tired to pronounce it. A dried museum tooth behaves differently under mechanical stress. It's brittle and lacks moisture. So the fresh wisdom tooth provided a perfect analog to the moist living dental tissues of a Neanderthal tooth sitting in a jaw. So next, they looked to the archaeological record of the Chagriska cave to choose their dental instruments. So the cave is rich in lithic artifacts made from locally sourced raw material known as jasperoid, which is a hard, fine-grained flint-like stone. Now, among the tools found in the same layer as the tooth were small retouched stone points and specialized implements called perforators. These feature a narrow, elongated, and sharp projection at the tip. So the researchers fashioned exact replicas of these perforators. Then, using nothing but their fingers, they attempted to drill into a modern human tooth. Not the one in person's mouth, that one that they were. They placed the sharp stone tip into the center of the crown and applied a gentle, steady, rotating motion, twisting the tool back and forth between the thumb and forefinger. Now, this process was slow, meticulous, and labor-intensive. So to breach the enamel and penetrate deep into the underlying dentine using the manual rotation, it required between 35 and 50 minutes of continuous focused work. Ouch.
Wow.
Ouch. Yeah. Whoa.
Now, during the experiment, the hard jasperoid points occasionally exerted too much pressure, causing some of the dried comparison teeth to crack. But on the fresh, moist tooth, the technique worked really well. The stone point ground away the tissue, systematically clearing a circular hollow. So when the experimental teeth were placed under the microscope and subjected to the same microscopy as the Neanderthal fossil, the match was amazing. The manual drilling, the stone replica produced the same stepped grooves, the same profile measurements, and the same horizontal parallel microstriations along the interior walls that were seen on the Neanderthal tooth. So this experiment successfully demonstrated 2 important things. First, it proved that a Neanderthal stone point was fully capable of drilling through dental tissue without modern machinery. Second, it confirmed that the marks on the ancient molar could only have been made by a deliberate manual rotation technique. And really, it was a validation of prehistoric dentistry. So, and just remember, the poor guy or girl was doing this enduring this without any anesthetic.
Anesthetic, yeah.
But, you know, they said that the treatment was a success because the microscopic analysis revealed that after the operation was over, the individual didn't die of an infection, nor did they abandon the tooth. They survived, the infection was healed, and they continued to chew food with that very same molar long enough to leave distinct patterns of wear over the newly drilled surfaces.
Wow.
So amazing.
Life went on. Yep.
Life went on. So, yeah, even though it would have been quite a painful thing to have to endure.
Yeah, it would have been awful. Yeah.
Unless they had some kind of natural anesthetic that we don't know about. That Neanderthals were very intelligent hominids, and they were able to perform dentistry to improve their lives. So, love it. I just love that.
And there wouldn't be any evidence of anything, if at all, that was used as a filling, because it would have, degraded over time. So if they happen to have some kind of something as a filling to provide comfort or whatever, you wouldn't know that wouldn't exist anymore, would it? So we'd have no idea.
Well, if it did exist, it wasn't long lasting. It came out, but you're right. Yeah, maybe in the future they will find something like that. I don't know. But
I just wonder if they thought of putting a filling to, I don't know, to provide comfort or to stop infection or something like that as well.
Maybe there was an organic kind of filling that was in there that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Sort of
just
wax.
Yeah.
Sort of hard wax or something, or tar. Or it was tar. Or very tar. But that is amazing, Caroline. Oh my goodness.
No, no, I just, no. Because I was wondering for a second though. I thought before when you said they were going to do an experiment, I thought you were going to say so they got 3 volunteers. No. Open your mouth for science.
I think it's hard enough to get someone to go to the dentist when you know you've got anesthetic and all the rest of it, let alone doing it without. And I mean, after my last root canal, I have not been to the dentist because I just cannot. I just cannot go through anything like that again.
Hard work.
I couldn't imagine doing it with no
without
anesthetic.
Me too. I've had my teeth pulled out, one of them in the back, and without that, I would have been in excruciating pain. Gosh, they grew them up tough in those days. Oh goodness me.
Everyone who is listening who has had dental surgery is holding their mouth right now.
I'm literally clenching my jaw.
I've had 3 wisdom teeth taken out, and just that was as interesting. But that, oh gosh, wow, that is hardcore. Now, but he lived. Sorry,
that's it. It worked. It was lived.
It worked, and that's wow, unbelievable, unbelievable,
amazing.
Let's Science is brought to you by StarQuest Media and is a fortnightly podcast that brings you the scientific wonders of our universe from a distinctly Catholic point of view. For more from Caroline, Lindsay, and friends, listen to the StarQuest show, Catholics of Oz. Find links from today's show at sqpn.com/science and find the Catholics of Oz at sqpn.com/Oz. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. The generous donations of our patrons at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Let's Science and all the shows at StarQuest, which makes our nonprofit mission possible. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Join us next time for more scientific wonders, and thank you for listening to Let's Science on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy, The Secrets of Star Wars. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/Star Wars.